So basically, I'm 2/3 of the way through with Love Medicine, and we're already like a third of the way through August, so I figured that it was time to stop procrastinating and that I should make a video about that one book that I read back in July. The book that we are talking about is Adorkable by Sarra Manning. It's about Jeane and Michael. It's told through both of their perspectives. The odd chapters are through Jeane's perspective, and the even chapters are through Michael's perspective. At the beginning of the book, they're both dating people, but then they break up with them. And even though Jeane and Michael don't really get along, they kind of fight a lot. Jeane doesn't seem to like him for some reason. He doesn't understand why. Clearly it's because he's popular. That's the kind of person that Jeane is. She doesn't like popular people just because they're popular. And somehow, though, they end up making out like all the time. I found out about this book through Charlie Reed. She mentioned that she had a problem with the cover because of the model for Jeane. The model was skinny, and that's not how Jeane was described in the book. And yeah, having read the book, Jeane is described as lumpy. That was Jeane's way of putting it. Michael's way of putting it was that she was chubby in a flat-chested way. And I can definitely see that that does not describe the young woman who is on the cover of the book. I was surprised when I got the book and I saw the model that they got for Michael, because Michael in the book, he's Asian. He's half Asian and half white. So I figured that they probably get some white guy who looks mixed. But I was pleasantly surprised that they actually got an Asian model for Michael. I guess the cover has its pros and cons. I was not really a fan of how Michael's race was brought up in the book. To explain this, I am biracial myself. Michael is half white and half Asian. I'm not. I'm half white and half black, so I'm not going to pretend that those are the same. But I do think that it's common with half white biracial people where the non-white part makes you exotic, but the white part dilutes that enough so that you're more acceptable in mainstream society because you're not too ethnic. I was just annoyed by that particular line. Anyway, Jeane, she is very popular on the internet. She has this blog thing called Adorkable, the title of the book. I do think that it makes sense that she's a lot more popular on the internet than in real life because of two things. One is that on the internet, you're not as limited as you are in real life when it comes to finding people to be friends with. And for Jeane especially, I think that in real life she's very judgmental. She doesn't like the popular kids because they're popular. And on the internet, you know about a person's interests and their personality and all of that before you know that they wear a Hollister or how many friends they have at high school. You know how popular they are on the internet, like how many subscribers or followers they have, but you don't really know how popular they were in high school. So I think that that kind of opens things up more for Jeane. I was annoyed by her in the book. I disliked it as much as I liked it because, as I said before in that last video, I'd rather have a character who has a really strong personality, really strong opinions, even though she is like an asshole, to a character who's very vanilla and bland. I do talk more about Jeane because the book is more about her, even though it's told through both her and Michael's perspective. I do think that she's the one who has more of a character arc in the book. She went through more before the book started than Michael did. But I did like Michael. I did like that he wasn't perfect. They argued a lot. It wasn't like Michael is always right, and it definitely wasn't like Jeane is always right, which I think is good, because I think that's super annoying in books. Other people are always right. I didn't quite like how the book ended because I thought there should be more. And by that I don't mean, oh, I loved it so much that she should have written more. Even though I did like it so much and I would have liked more for that reason. But also because during adolescence you kind of rebel against what other people have told you and you find maybe different ideas, different ways to live. You try all that stuff on, and there's this big trial and error period, or at least that's what it was like for me. And I feel like Jeane tries one thing to, I guess, fit in or get more friends before deciding that, it's okay to be yourself and that's all good. But one, I think that the thing that she changed weren't things that she should have changed in the first place. The problems with her weren't the way that she dressed or the way she dyed her hair. It was that she was an asshole, and the reason why she was all alone was because she's an asshole and she doesn't really give people chances. She's like so judgmental. So I think that what I'm trying to say is maybe I wanted more of a struggle with that, or I should try this and this and this, and instead of I should try this one thing and then nope, never mind. Anyways, I liked the book quite a lot. As I said in my last video, I think that it was the first YA book that I read that used the word clitoris, and for that alone the book would get an A+ from me. So I'm going to go back to reading other things, namely Love Medicine, which I'm planning to get through today, and then next week-ish there's going to be another readathon, which I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, but I'm planning on getting my read on for it's not September, it's August.